This is the sound of small businesses owning it with Sage Accounting.
Renovation owned. Invoices sorted.
Clients workout owned. Expenses smashed. Tax return done.
Take control of your business with cloud accounting from Sage. Own it. Try for free at sage.com.
Welcome to the Honest Money Small Business Focus, sponsored by Sage. I'm Warren Ingram, the author of a few best-selling books, and I'm also an award-winning financial planner, and I've helped thousands of people on their journey to financial freedom. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to share my experience and the best ideas that I've learned, and I hope these ideas help you on your journey to financial freedom. Welcome to Honest Money. We're very chuffed to have a new guest on our show, Tlou Ledwaba. He is the co-founder of Bright Path Business Consultants. TJ, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Great pleasure to be on board.
So TJ, I've got so many questions I want to ask you, and you've got an interesting CV, I want to say, because you've got something to do with you're the first guest I've ever had that's been appointed by the president of our country to do something. And so before we get into the business part of this, I'd love for you to tell our guests a little bit about how do you get appointed by the president of our country to do something.
Thanks, Warren. It was just an open opportunity to everyone, and I happened to apply. To send through my application, which went through the evaluations and assessment, and the appointment was made. I guess I sort of qualified based on what I submitted to the assessment team that time.
Okay, and what does that involve? What is the role, and what do you do?
So the role basically entails, being appointed as an accountant member, whereby from time to time you're called in to sit in the court cases, and work as an assessor, where you listen to the case and you assist the presiding judge to rule on the matter, bringing in the expert knowledge of taxation. So it's mainly the tax matters that go into court. And you'll be doing that on behalf of SARS as well. So you'll be taking that side.
So when we get into trouble, if we're running our own businesses and we end up in court, you might be the expert helping the judge to decide whether we're telling the truth or not.
Correct. And unfortunately, I'll be sitting on the opposite side.
Okay. So in your business's role now, if I'm understanding correctly, you help companies to grow and develop themselves, going out into the market, and actually, I guess accounting is part of that, but it's not just accounting.
No, definitely. I think our direct, our growth or our success is defined by the direct success of the client. So we've defined it as that, and I think that is the core or fundamental principle of Bright Path Business Consultants, where we're saying that if Warren grows, we are very sure that we're going to grow as well. We're relatively small as an accounting firm, but we believe that also provides clients with a personal touch, to make sure that, when they call in, their calls are answered, there's quick turnaround of things. So that's how we've based it. So we are accounting firm. We do taxation services, and we provide, accounting services, but our whole intention is basically to resolve all other business issues that you might have, to make sure that ultimately you become a growing or a scalable business. Hence, we also assist with the funding assistance. So if there's a funding available somewhere, we prep you for that funding and making sure that you get it and, you grow your business.
So you're leading on beautifully to my key question here, which is, whenever we talk to entrepreneurs about growing their businesses, one of their biggest complaints is around access to funding. And so I'm interested just to know a bit more about that. What are the kind of sources of funding that businesses can look at? And then the follow-up to that is, what are the things that they need to know? What should they be doing right to get that funding? I guess, it's not just a case of, picking up the phone to the bank and saying, I need money.
No, definitely. I think if you look at all these sort of fundings, from the private sector up to your government funding and this COVID-19 funding that came from last year, one of the things that you pick up from all these fundings is that, there's a lot of documentation that's required, and most of that is around the company information. They want to know if you are tax compliant. They need to know if your financials are up to date. They need to know who's the owner. They need to know if you can be able to report back. Apart from us preparing those documents, most of the funders feel much comfortable if they know that we've got an accountant that is playing an advisory role. So we assist these guys to say, look, let's prep all the documents, let's put everything in place, and also let's point you in the right direction, because most of the SMEs, they get discouraged when they read out all these requirements, long requirements, yeah, man, I need to get this, I need to get that. And what that implies most of the time is that they need to go pay an accountant, they need to go pay a lawyer, something that they might not have at that time. So our approach as well is, we're not after money per se, but if we know that, look, we can help this guy get this funding and later on we can recover our fees, we also do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, so, sorry, TJ, and where are the places that are kind of most likely for SMEs to actually get funding?
Yeah, we've worked quite a lot with the Small Enterprise Development Agency, which is well known as SEDA. We've worked with CIFA as well. We're working with all these two institutions taking direct instructions from the from the Department of Small Business Development. And I think the open funding that is happening now is what you call TREP funding, which focus a lot on the informal sectors. But we also have other fundings like from your DTI and fundings that happen from time to time. So we're always on the lookout to see what is on the market. You know what I mean? Some of the fundings are very much private, stupid fundings. I don't want to call them stupid, but private in a sense that it's once-off fundings, emergency fundings. The president spoke yesterday. Other fundings are in a form of the financial relief that comes from the government. So it's always a matter of keeping your eyes open on the market and seeing what's coming out and sharing it with your clients. And that direct contact that we have with our clients as an accounting firm allows us to share that information from time to time. You know what I mean? So the one-stop area whereby clients or small businesses can always be updated is through our website, which is info@bpc.co.za, where they can go and stay tuned and see what's happening.
Okay, and when people are looking for funding, let's just say the small business funding from government that you're talking about, what are the sort of amounts that are available? What would the general, is it sort of 10 grand? Is it, 500,000? What's the sort of range of size?
Man, I think it's if you can justify why you need $1 million in a business, you will get $1 million. But if you can't justify, then you'll get what, you'll be limited in a sense that, the bank or the funder or the donor, they need a reason why they can trust you with $1 million. You know what I mean? I've got clients that get $1 million rands. I've got clients that get 50,000. And I think my job is not to lie. My job is not to misrepresent what you are, but we need a true reflection or a true, scenario that we can send to the bank or to the donor. You know what I mean? And I think also what is also important is, I think we're living in a society whereby if you can have a social enterprise, meaning a business that also answers community needs, it's easy for you to get funding. Number two, if you are a lady or a woman running a business, it's easy to get funding. Those are the things that we've picked up as well. You will know, issues that we face, gender-based violence happening. So if you are a business that over and above, standing as a profit-making entity, you're also involved in communities and all those things. So it's basically about positioning your business to make sure that you render all these type of solutions so that you give more reasons why you should get funding. But to answer precisely, the answer to that is that you can get as much as you want. I was reading an article last week of a lady got 1.2 million in the tech industry, the tech sector. And I mean, we can tick 2 boxes already. It's a tech industry, and that's a growing industry, as we will all know. She's a lady, you know what I mean? So there's already 2 reasons why I should give that person funding. And she's still saying that she needs more funding. She's aiming for 100 million. So those are the things that indicate that, you know, you can get as much as you want for as long as you've got the right reasons.
And I think that, I mean, to me, you know, in my opinion on this, one of the things that entrepreneurs always need to remember is, you know, the getting the paperwork right and you know, ticking all the boxes might feel like a waste of time. But when you're talking to banks and to funders, the things that really count are the details around the, you know, are you tax compliant? Have you registered with all the entities that you need to register with? Are your financials in order? You know, at the moment your admin looks sloppy and it looks like your record keeping is bad, it makes any funder, whether it's a donor, you know, government funding or the banks, it makes them nervous, and they'll prefer to put their money elsewhere. And even if you've got a great business that's growing really quickly and it ticks all the other boxes, if your admin is not sorted out and your accounting is not right, it's going to be really hard to get funding on a consistent basis.
Most definitely, and I think we, as accountants, sometimes we often misunderstood as just guys that are there to make money. You know, you try to advise someone and they feel like, oh, you're advising me because you need to get your accounting services going. You need to start making me as your client, without understanding that we need to help. You know, we've seen these problems. We've seen people coming back to us and saying, look, I've got a 3 million liability with SARS. We've seen people saying, look, I qualified for funding, but 3 months later, I lost the funding because I failed to submit my first report. So we've seen these things happening, and our advice come from a good heart to say, look, you know, it saves a lot to pay an accountant 2,000 rand, 3,000 rand in order to qualify for 100,000 or 500,000 or not to lose it. You know, and I think if we can be understood like that as accountants, I understand, unfortunately, there's been bad guys in the market that, you know, overprice their services, that rip clients off. Some of accountants run away, you know what I mean? He takes the information, he gets the money, he never gets back. But it does not, you know, wipe out the fact that, you know, these things are still important. Some of the businesses, you know, survived many years or became sustainable, not because they were making big profits, not because they had the best guys, but these are the guys that just took the admin seriously. And another thing that we need to take into consideration is that most of these applications, when you apply, some of them, they've got a waiting period, you know. And I've had a lot of clients coming to you and say, look, I need my tax clearance certificates and I need it today, which is often impossible because now we need to send it through the application. There has to be an email that comes back to say, look, send us through the supporting documents. We still need to wait. So these things take time. So the sooner you have them, the better. But most of the SMEs, we have found out that they wait. They wait for the president to announce that, guys, there's this funding and this a list of documents that we need. Things that they could have had in a file in the office somewhere, they could have had, you know, stored up and ready for anything that can come up. You know what I mean? So it always helps to you know, to future-proof yourself and just, you know, be ready for these opportunities as they come. And also as an accountant, I mean, we from where I'm sitting, I already know a list of clients that take things, you know, seriously. And if I see any funding coming up, I know who to call, because I know these are the guys that will probably have 9 out of 10 documents that are required. You know, then it makes sense why I can put them on the program, unlike someone that will not even know where to find a company certificate. You know what I mean?
That's a powerful point there, TJ, is, you know, if you're always ready, and if you run your business like you always need to be ready to answer questions and provide documents, then you're always prepared for when the opportunity arises. And if you're sloppy, you're going to struggle with that, because, as you say, the timing will cut you short. So TJ, we're running out of time, and I always have one question I love asking my guests, and so get ready, which is, If you could meet your 18-year-old self now, what would be the one lesson you would like to give yourself?
I would have taught myself to believe in myself more than I did. I think I believed in myself, but it was not enough. There are things that I'm doing today which I feel I could have done maybe 5 years ago. And that has mainly been attributed to the background that maybe one came from, and everything that you basically tried in life was the first thing. You're the first to drive, you're the first to marry, you're the first to have a house, you're the first to have this degree. So you instead of drawing faith and from somewhere else, you becoming that person that needs to build that faith for others and becoming a role model. But I think if I had believed in myself more, I could have accomplished more things than I am now. But it's still not too late. I'm doing that, but it could have been much better.
That's a power message. Thanks, TJ. I mean, I think it's such a lesson for all of us. We've got to be ready. We've got to be prepared. We've got to have faith in ourselves. We've got to make sure we are ready for the opportunities that arise. And then we've got to have enough confidence in ourselves to take those opportunities as they come. And so I'm going to leave it there. TJ, thank you so much for joining us. And I wish you all the best in the months and the years ahead.
Ned, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate, and have a lovely day.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Honest Money. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is @WarrenIngram. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Chat soon.